Hi, good morning for me, good afternoon and good night. So we are in the, I am hosting this conference. And now I will present our speaker, Luana Goulart, which will present the talk, Education and Home, Political Perspectives on Women in the Work of Mary Wollstonecraft and Nisia Floresta. Luana Goulart Castro Alves is a PhD student in philosophy at the Russell Archive Freiburg, in sociology at the postgraduate program in sociology at State University of Ceará in Brazil, and she currently studies gender and care and self-epistemologies at Claxo, a postgraduate specialization. So, Luana, you can start. Thank you.
So I couldn't start otherwise than saying that I'm sorry I missed Yasmin, Professor Natasha talk. I was chairing another session, so I really feel sorry for missing it, because I would like to say that in a way, in a direct way, my research about women is really influenced by them. Professor Natasha is a great professor, and she's doing a great job here in Brazil studying women in philosophy, history and philosophy. And yeah, thank you a lot. And please understand this as a contribution and a way of thanking you for all that. And Professor Michele, I saw you. I saw you in this last event this month about tourism. There was a part about marriage, and we're talking about marriage and women in general. So I'm really happy being here at this time today. It's not so early in Brazil, but we started early, yes. So it's really important being here in this environment, talking this table right now. That's how I wanted to start. Then I will share a screen with you. And let me do it. Here and now. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Perfect. So I will start saying that this is an ongoing research. It's not something that I'm finishing, something that I would not say that I'm starting, but I will say that I'm starting this historical turn or historical point of view, or this historical investigation in this research that didn't start with this. So another thing I want to tell you is that some of you may know, but some of you may not know that I'm also a researcher in a center in Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, where we try to comprehend the position and political aspects of elected women in Brazil. And this research group, we work with social scientists, sociologists, and this work is integrated with that work, and I will try to show you how. When we started understanding or trying to analyze these positions, the position of those women, we started using terms like conservative or progressive, or this woman has a progressive way of positioning into political field, or in the political field, we could put her in the map of this map of conservative and progressive positions. We can put her here or there. And then we started feeling that something was not working, because sometimes those terms, conservative and progressive, those categories were difficult to understand in itself. And how and why exactly? Because sometimes those women, they had positions such as, for example, I want to make laws, and I'm defending the position that women should be working outside home, that biological features do not implicate in some political or some social position, and etc. But at the same time, for example, that made us say, oh, she's really progressive. But at the same time, she said, oh, I'm against abortion. And then we were, what? So she's conservative. So where should we put her in this map? this configuration. It was really hard. And from this, I could say that was my starting point. But then I started reading some critics to Simone de Beauvoir, not exactly to Simone de Beauvoir, to Heidegger, but then there's this text of Iris Marion Young where she is making she's building a criticism towards Heidegger, but at the same time she's also making a criticism towards Simone de Beauvoir. And then that was quite a shock. I thought, oh, Iris Marion Young is an activist, a feminist, but well, she's sounding so conservative in this text, going against de Beauvoir, and de Beauvoir for us is so progressive in a way, and so it's such a feminist, and that made me feel really uncomfortable. And I was trying to understand why, especially in respect when we think about the terms or the idea or notions of home and home activities, housework, home care, being a mother, marrying, those activities there I would say that are in this that we do at home, that we make at home. Those activities somehow I wanted to understand how they are related to this position, this conservative or progressive position, how those women, they could be understood, they could be comprehended through those ideas, and how could we think of them politically in terms of those ideas in this set of progressive or conservative thinking. So it started from a real problem for something that we are trying to deal with right now. And that's really important for me, that we are not only talking about theoretical philosophy, we're talking about real problems, and problems that are somehow they're somehow difficult in our research. So something that we have to deal with. So when I start reading Young's criticism to Simone de Beauvoir, the main text where I would like to focus is House and Home, a text that she wrote she did not wrote in 2001, but it is in a book with a lot of other position, rereading the canon about Heidegger. And this text is there. It's not only there, but it was from there that I got it. So this text is there. And then this question, right? How to classify them politically? Well, just put you here. Some aspects of their proposal seem to me progressive and other conservative, as I said to you. In this case specifically, Simone de Beauvoir has this idea of transcendent and immanent activities. And she says that to be free, to be an autonomous subject, you have to leave home. Women have to leave home because women have to perform what men perform. That means transcendent activities. When women are at home, they can only perform immanent activities. Home activities are immanent activities intrinsically. So in order to be free, in order to be an autonomous subject, in order to do that, women must get out of home, must be freed from home. So this is an important point. It's something that had a major impact in philosophy. And from this idea, Young will make her criticism. And when we understand how, in a way, Young seems to be conservative, in another way seems to be progressive, we'll be able to ask ourselves, is that position new? Is that difficulty to position those women in conservative or progressive categories something new, is something from our times? Or is that a problem that is already present in the history of philosophy, women history of philosophy? And from that, I'm starting to develop this research, trying to see if modern women, right now I'm working with modern women, we can see more clearly if their positions are conservative or progressive, or if it is difficult, as it is for us today, to fit, to make them suit in one of these categories. So, as I told you, I started with Young and Simone de Beauvoir, and then I went to these Mary Wollstonecraft and Nisia Floresta work. Mary Wollstonecraft's English woman, we will consider her text from 1720. Nisia Floresta, she's a Brazilian woman writing some years later. The text we will be considering here is the book Opúsculo Humanitário. She wrote it, she published it in 1853. And then, yes, as I told you, Simone de Beauvoir and Luana Goulart will also appear here as a starting point. So my main question is, home, what is its value? What is its value and how it's related to freedom and oppression? Not taking all the considerations, all the positions of Simone de Beauvoir or Mary Wollstonecraft, I'm really interested in this idea of home, right? And the third point is the idea of home in relation to woman's telos. So the ethical and moral perspective, how home is related to those perspectives. For example, which role do biological aspects, social organization, education play in answering this question? Are they related? Are they required? They implicate in a certain position or not? How these relations, how these aspects are related to the maintenance or transformation of social organization. So if we have a biological position, do we have a necessary social configuration? So if we have that biologically, women can have children, so they must have children, they must be at home, mothers. Is that a fixed point or not? So the first concrete step was this comparative consideration of Beauvoir and Young, and their likeness and difference concern dimension, topics, and questions. The Beauvoir, as I told you, has this idea of home activities as immanent activities, and what we do in the public sphere, what men do in the public sphere they can do that. It's not always, but they can perform transcendent activities. So to her, home has an exclusively negative value. That's an important point. Simone de Beauvoir, she's a French woman. She's writing 1949. That's also important to us to know in the cartography, let's say, in the geographically saying where she's located and what context she's in. So home has an exclusive negative value for her. It's an oppressive place for women. And biological aspects do not imply a specific social function that has to be fulfilled. So women can be mothers, but they don't need to be mothers. They don't have to be mothers. They don't have to stay at home, right? So freedom and women's telos. What is equal to men in both nature and way of fulfillment, and are only tenable outside home in the public sphere, performing transcendent activities. So she's saying actually that for men and women to achieve their telos, they have to perform transcendent activities. So they have to be out of home. They have to be in the public sphere, right? But they can do it. Both of them, men and women, can do it in the same way, go into the public sphere, performing transcendent activities. So that's the starting point. Social and political organization had to think. Yes, at the time she was writing, women was confined at home, as she said. And then she's saying, oh, we have to transform these social functions, social positions, so women will be able to be outside, women will be able to participate in the public sphere, and will be able to perform these transcendent activities. So she's saying, well, we need to leave these moral and religious aspects of our time and left it behind, and we have to change them. We have to bring something new forward. So Young's an American woman writing, I'm telling you, 2001, but she wrote this text a little bit earlier. For her, home has both a negative and a positive value. And that was when I thought, oh, she's really conservative. Home has a positive value. How is that? So she tries to build this argument where you can see that the activities we do at home, that they don't have one aspect only. They can have different perspectives. You can emphasize different aspects when you look at them, and you can see them through a negative value, and they have a negative value, she says, but you can also look at through a positive perspective. And here, some of you could say, oh, she's really conservative. Oh, that's a bourgeois point of view, in a way, conservative bourgeois point of view. But we have to say that, and she says it also, that bell hooks is with her. Bell hooks also understand that home can have a positive value when we think politically. She'll talk about home and the resistance aspects of home in African American families, for example, bell hooks. And Young is agreeing with her. So Young says home has both a positive and a negative value, depending on the perspective you're looking. So it's not an oppressive place for a woman, because otherwise, it is an oppressive place for a woman, but it doesn't reduce to that. Something that intrinsically means that women are confined at home. But of course, if women are confined at home, that's really bad. That's really negative. But we can think of ways of being at home and not being confined at home. Okay? And she's also saying biological aspects don't imply a specific function that has to be fulfilled. And in this, she's also agreeing with Simone de Beauvoir. She says, oh, women can marry, women can have children, women can be president, women can do whatever she's able to do. There is no biological feature that implies that she must do this or must do that, or can only do this or only do that. So freedom in a woman's telu, that is equal to men's in both nature and way of fulfillment. So men's telus and women's telus are the same, being free, being more perfect, being happy. They are the same, and both can do it in the same way. The problem is being forced to stay at home or being reduced to home, not being at home itself. Women should be able to be in the public and the private sphere according with her own will. That's the point of Young. And then we have this conclusion that so changes in social and political organization should be beneficial. Need to leave moral and religious aspects of the age behind, change them. So she's saying, if nowadays people think that women should be at home, that's a religious point of view or a custom that comes from a moral perspective, so we'll have to change it so women can be whatever she wants, where she fits. And so that means we have to transform, to change the social organization that women are at home and men are outside. We have to change. But then the research, as I told you, took a historical turn to better understand the stances of these contemporary philosophers, how to evaluate and compare them. It was vital to have an idea of how other women in different periods of history of philosophy have positioned themselves on these and related subjects. In particular, it proved desirable to find ways and measures to identify them in specific topics or as a whole, as conservative or progressive. So we try to see if in the history of philosophy, women were more clearly conservative or more clearly progressive, or if this tension was present when we were talking about home. Mary Wollstonecraft, an English woman, the Vindication of Women's Rights was published in 1790. And there we can see the home has no negative value in itself. Biological aspects don't imply a specific social function that has to be fulfilled. And freedom implies not to be obliged to stay at home, but one does not need to go to the public sphere to be free. It's tenable both inside home as outside it. the problem is being forced to stay home, or being reduced to home, not being at home itself. It sounds a lot like Young in a way, right? Women should be able to be in the public and in the private sphere according with her own will. So here we can see that Mary Wollstonecraft has a position very similar to Edith Madden Young. She's saying, oh, if women are at home, they can achieve their telos. Yes, they can. But they can do it also in the public sphere. And there is no biological feature. There is no ulterior reason why she shouldn't. Okay, she can be outside, she can be in public sphere, she can be inside home doing home activities, and she will be able to achieve her telos anyway. So women's telos is equal to men in both nature and way of fulfillment. Education is the way of achieving it, and then here education comes in. So what's what education brings to this discussion? So it's through education that women will be able to be in the public sphere, both because men will understand that she is able to do it, and because she will study and understand how she can do it, how she can develop her reason. And in developing her reason, she'll be fit to be in any position, depending of how her reason works and what are her interests and etc. So education is something that is necessary to both men and women. Education is the way of achieving the public sphere and a way of changing the political, the social organization. So she says, social organization has to change, and education is a necessary element of this transformation. Must waive moral, religion aspects of the must leave, right? Leave, say goodbye to moral or religious aspects of the she's in. So she's saying, oh, the customs are like this or like that. You can have religious reason to say that women should be at home, should stay at home, but if you really study, if you really understand how reason works, and you understand that women's telos and men's telos are the same, you see that there is no difference, and women can be as men are. And that's really important to say that, because she's right in a moment where we have these, we already had and will have later also women being queens in England. So this is really something interesting, because she's not talking about something theoretical. She's saying, oh, we had women in power, so women can do this. So those arguments, those theoretical arguments, they don't fit. They're not enough. They're not good enough, and I'm going to show you why not. And you can see, you can perceive that, because we have real examples of that. So that's important. So Nisia Floresta, she's a Brazilian. The text that I'm going to consider here is the Opúsculo Humanitário. It was published in 1853. And that's important because Nisia Floresta and Wollstonecraft have a close relation. Nisia Floresta translated Wollstonecraft's work to Portuguese. It's a strange translation, because it's not a word-to-word translation. She also changes things. She makes different appointments. So it's not just a translation as we normally understand it, as something that is equal to the English text. It's different, but in a way it was through Nisia that we got to know Wollstonecraft. That is really something when we're talking about Brazil in the 19th century. So Nisia Floresta is has a great political role. She played an important role in sharing some of what we can call feminist, proto-feminist, or feminist approaches. Okay. So, but something is important to say also, that Nisia was also influenced by positivistic perspectives. She got acquainted with Conch in France, and these positivistic perspectives, they got into her work. I'm not saying that it was never there. or that were some proto-positivistic aspects in other Nisia Floresta works. I'm not saying that. I'm not able to say that. I can only say that after the opposition, see more clearly this positivistic influence. So home for her has a positive value. And that's something really shocking for us. Because when we think about a feminist approach, we think, oh, home is like Simone de Beauvoir, right? Home is something really bad. It's the source of our oppression and etc. And she's saying, Nisia is saying, no, home has a positive value, right? And she's also saying that some biological aspect do imply a specific social function that has to be fulfilled. For women, being at home, taking care of their child, and being good wives. She's saying that's something related to what we can do biologically. We can have children. So that is the way that we will fulfill our fields. That is the way that we can be more perfect. So that's something really, really, really interesting. When you think that she translated Wollstonecraft, that she is somehow defending some points closely to Wollstonecraft, and then you get to this work and you see that there are some compromise and some difficulties in saying that she's really progressive as Wollstonecraft. She has only this progressive perspective. There are some conservative perspectives here, and I would like to say that those are important too. You cannot put them aside. We have to understand the complexity of this philosopher in this broader perspective, through this broader perspective. So some implies not being externally obliged to stay at home, but women do not need to go to the public sphere to be free. They can be free, they can perform what they must, they can be perfected, they can achieve their fields at home. Women telos is equal to men in man's nature. That means that both of them can be happy, for example, but not in a way of fulfillment. Men will perfect themselves, they will be happier or happy outside home, in the public sphere. But for women, it involves being good mothers and wives. And education is the way of achieving our things. So education has an important role here, too, because it's through education that we will understand better what we can do and what are the roles of men and women in society. Social organization must not change fundamentally. Say, okay, women, like it is right now, women are at home and men are outside, but we must be better educated to fulfill these functions better. Women at home, if they study, if they understand what they have to do, how they can do, etc., they will do it better. And men, same thing. And also, they will understand how special, how positive is being a mother. They will give a good value to that. They will that will have a special place in society, and she's defending that. So she, in a way, she maintains more on the religious aspects of the age. So when I finished this first part of the research, I had this idea of trying to make a cartography or a map or a board where we could visually see those positions, see how those women in history and philosophy, they have close views or different views about home. And I thought that bringing it to a visual possibility, it would be important for us. So I would rather say that my main goal now is trying to position, to make a cartography, to make a map, or to make something that we could see visually. Of course, if you see it's visually, but we could experience it visually about these different perspectives, and to put this somehow in a place where we could see how conservative or progressive, or in which ways they are conservative and progressive, and if we could say that they fit into one category or another, or in the other category, if they are conservative or progressive, or if we cannot say that, we could say perhaps that they had positions there we can say that those positions are progressive or those positions are conservative, and we have to take a look into the positions, into the exactly material that they are saying or affirming. So I did not have, that's something that I'm building, it's not made, and I did not bring it to you because it's at the present time completely crazy. And but I would like to say that that's my main goal. That's something that could help us to talk and to engage with other people outside from philosophy, for example, also with political scientists and sociologists and etc. That would be something that I think that's a major contribution, and that's what I'm willing to do right now. So thank you.